Next, fourth important criteria is seventh, institutional values and best practices. See, every institution exists for some social point of view, from some social point of view. Your motto can be बहुजन हिताय बहुजन सुखाय, येथे बहुतांचे हित, वगैरे वगैरे. Whatever is your motto of the society or your parent organization. As per that motto, means is that motto reflected in your vision and mission statement of the college? And as per that vision and mission statement of your college, are you able to devise your objectives, and are you working out to fulfill your objectives or not? That is nothing but the institutional values. Okay, whatever the values have been established by the forefathers of this society, or the initiators or say founders of the society, parent organization, what values they have devised, what values they have established, are you following it or not? That relation they always try to, NAC always tries to see from these institutional values. And the best practices, those best practices must have some connection with your values. Okay, at least two best practices are to be described, and the length is given very big, 1000 words. You have to use 1000 words to describe your best practices. You can go on our website of our institution, download our SSR and read our best practices. It's an open invitation for all of you. See, just see. You will definitely get to know the new clues out of this. The fifth priority is infrastructure and learning process. You have to see, as per these priorities, you have to devote the time on these particular criteria. Okay, just keep it in mind. Infrastructural learning resources, particularly for the colleges which are grant in aid. काय म्हणतो त्याला आपण? Grantable colleges. For grantable colleges, improvement in infrastructure, there is a limitation. For having the new learning resources, there is limitation. Why? Because the salary comes from the grant, which is given by the government. Okay, and the fee structure is very low. Fee structure of the students is very low, and out of that collection of the fees, no management is able to contribute for the infrastructure development or to purchase some learning resources newly. There are a lot of limitations. But my dear friends, I would like to tell you one thing, that even if this is the limitation, how are you conquering this limitation and you are identifying new ways to improve your infrastructure and purchasing the learning resources? That is to be highlighted here. Then you can take the to come out from this limitation, you can take help of the scheme like RUSA. There are certain schemes of UGC which provide you a lot of funds. I have seen that some colleges have brought funds in few crores, 2 crores, 3 crores, such likewise. Okay, and what for these funds are given? For infrastructure development, for updation of the learning resources, getting the new equipments. Because unless and until you remain intact with the technological development in the industry, you cannot motivate, you cannot prepare your students to take up the challenges in the industry. For that matter of fact, we need these learning resources. Then as the faculty member, as the head of the institution, it becomes your responsibility to identify such resources. You can identify some philanthropers also from the society. Okay, you can identify some donators from the society who will donate you some equipments, who will donate you financially to improve some lab, may it be computer lab, may it be your chemistry lab, may it be your the physics lab or botany lab, zoology lab, whatever. For improvement of these equipments, you can always have the philanthropers from the society. Then the next importance is given to the research, innovation and extension. This particular area is normally remains weak for the UG/PG colleges. Even it was the weaker section of our own criteria, our own institution also. And this was the area, or this was the criteria in which we also secured less marks, because the focus is on the research conducted by faculty members, individual faculty members. Okay. Then the research which is useful for the society, that gives more importance. Okay, what are the innovations you have brought out of your research work, right? And how you have extended your research work or the outcomes of the research work for the betterment of the society, that is given more importance in this criteria. One more thing is given importance here, that is the joint research which you do with your students. So student research is also given here importance, but normally this becomes very weak area. So I have kept it at number 6, and number 7 is governance, leadership and management, where you have very less scope to make the improvements. Management and governance and the leadership is not in your control. Okay, with due respect to all the managements, with due respect to all the leadership of the colleges, I say that this particular area remains rigid. Okay, there is less flexibility shown by the leadership. There is less flexibility shown by the management. Okay, and because of which, as the researcher, as the faculty member, we face certain problems. Okay, but nevertheless, whatever is the rigidity at this area, we can definitely bring in some e-governance. Okay, we are going to see the key indicators which are going to be important in individual these criteria. In this, I am going to highlight how you can improve the or get more marks into your governance and leadership also. Okay, so this is how the priority is given, and the prioritization of the criteria are to be done just because of whatever the justification, whatever the description I just gave to you, right? After this, there would be the prioritization of the key indicators. Okay, now these key indicators, the criteria have been listed as per this importance, as per the priority mentioned in this slide. So the first priority is given to criterion number 2. That's the reason criterion number 2 is here in the first place. Okay, now here in the criterion number 2, again, whatever the number of key indicators are, there are 7 key indicators. Okay, and these 7 key indicators are distributed for 350 points. Okay, in this, just again concentrate on the last column, that is priority. I have prioritized as 2.7, that is student satisfaction survey, as the first priority. This student satisfaction survey starts with your DVV process. Okay, this is not in your hands, but I have given you the tip how you can have the control over this by having connection or contact with the students and guiding them properly in this student satisfaction survey, because students are puzzled, like always, isn't it? And they seek your help into it, right? So help them and try to get more and more maximum weightage or maximum points into this particular key indicator. Okay, 60 points are given for UG as well as PG. Number 2, second priority is given to the student performance and learning outcomes. This is totally concentrated on the result of the students. Whatever the students have given performance, shown the performance within last 5 years of your assessment, and there has to be ascending growth. Sorry, improving, ascending, descending, I got confused, but there has to be some growth every year by year in the performance of students. That you have to show here. On for this particular key indicator, the points are given 60. So that much importance has been given here. Okay, so if after the first accreditation, that was in Baramati, when we got accredited, after that in the first cycle itself we got A grade, and that was the highest in those days in the old format. Okay, so a number of colleges started calling us for the help or guidance in their A&A process. Okay, so we visited one law college. I will not name that college. Okay, we visited one law college, and we understood that there are certain subjects in law where consistently there was 0% result. Can you imagine? That was shocking to us. And consistently the faculty member was same for that subject. See, with due respect to all granting aid colleges, grantable colleges and the faculty members, this was the scene which we identified in that grantable, that law college was grantable and that faculty was paid by government. Nobody, nobody including the principal of that college could change that faculty, could say anything to that faculty, and that faculty was producing whatever, what was the, why we are the faculty members, why we are the teachers? To teach the students. And after teaching our subject, if the whatever the evaluation we conduct, if that in that evaluation, if the students are failing miserably, every year 0% result, what is the use of such a teacher? Isn't it? And means the scene was so pathetic. We discussed it with the principal of that college, but he was also helpless. He told us that, sir, sorry, we cannot do anything against this professor. So whatever is the scene, please guide us how to go come out of this situation. Then we had given them certain tips and to hide that particular, how to hide that. Hide matlab kya hai? We will not put it in on the surface, and whatever the best things, best practices, best results are there, we will highlight more or focus more. That is how we gave them the tips, and they could secure B grade. Okay. I thought that they will be rejected, they will not be graded, but they got B grade at least. Okay, that was the scene. But this result of the student is very important. The learning outcomes is those are important. Number 3 important criteria into this KI is teaching learning process. Whether your teaching learning process starts from making the teaching plan or not. Before teaching plan, whatever the allocation of the subjects is done, before we start the semester, there has to be some department-wise meetings. After department-wise meetings, principal has to conduct a common meeting of all the departments. And what business has to be transacted into those meetings are the allocation of the subjects. Democratically, all the subjects are to be made available for all the faculty members, and democratically, all the faculty members have to choose subjects out of those. Once this process is over, then the respective faculty member has to prepare a teaching plan for that particular semester. In that teaching plan, on which particular date-wise or day-wise, there are 2 types. You can make it lecture-wise, that is lecture number 1, lecture number 2, lecture number 3, likewise. Okay. But if you want to make the system more fruitful and more robust and more transparent, then you can prepare your academic calendar first. Once you prepare the academic calendar, then you come to know the number of holidays, you come to know the number of days which are allocated for examination, internal examination or external examination. Then we allocate certain days for cultural activities, we allocate certain days for sports activities. So whatever, exclude all those days, and whatever the teaching days are available, out of those teaching days, if you are going to start your teaching from, say, for example, 20th of August, from 20th of August onwards, whatever the available teaching days are, according to those teaching days, you can mention into your teaching plan. Isn't it? If you want to mention the dates also, you can do so, but before that, your timetable has to be ready. So that you will come to know that on which date particularly I have my lecture. Isn't it? Then you can put the dates also. So many things go hand in hand. Look at that. Your subject allocation, then your academic calendar preparation, then your timetable preparation, and then your teaching plan preparation. Into this teaching plan, not only the plan of teaching is to be given, but you have to mention the evaluation also. How you are going to evaluate your chapter number 1, chapter number 2, chapter number 3. Are you what sort of continuous internal evaluation you are going to conduct? There are various ways, methodologies are there by to conduct the internal evaluation. What that particular evaluation thing or the pattern or the criteria you are going to use, that is to be mentioned in the teaching plan.